The FSB is in years-long cyber attacks on the UK, says the government. We're going to look into this more from the BBC, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from the BBC with a headline of Russia hacking the FSB in years-long cyber attack on the UK, says the government. So I have covered some of this to some extent on the Snowflake's viewpoint, so I will put a link in the description if you guys want to check that out. It has been timestamped, that live stream, so you can go specifically to it if you want to look at a different. If you want to have a look there as well. But I wanted to do a video on this one because I do think it's important. It's an important issue. You know, our national security is at risk here, and it's been going on for a long time apparently, and it's ridiculous. The UK is accusing Russia's security service, the FSB, of sustained cyber hacking campaigns targeting politicians and others in public life. This is something that we know has been going on. We know Russia have been targeting infrastructure. Now we know this has been happening. We know this has been happening. The thing is that the media, the mainstream media, just don't want to. It's only news if it's big enough to talk about it. Now, although this is a few days old, I still think it's an important one to discuss because you know, people. This can lead to inevitable deaths. This could lead to people losing their livelihoods if they're not careful. You know, the information that Russia could have could prove certain sensitive information that Russia could get their hands on could prove to be extremely dangerous. Now, I also want to make a very important distinction here between the Russian government and the Russian people as well, just like we make the distinction between the British government and the British people, because that's a very important distinction here. This is the government specifically that I have a problem with, not the Russian people. I want to make that very clear. They have invaded another country. They have claimed that they have annexed Crimea back in 2014. They have done some horrific stuff. And President Putin has somehow still, to this day, is still the Russian president after everything that man has done. He is incredibly powerful, and he is very careful about the people he keeps close to him, because anybody who gets too close to him, ones that he might feel that may be a threat to him. There is no such thing as democracy in Russia, and they will and it's not just us. I'm pretty sure they've tried to target other countries, but considering our vulnerability especially over the past years, the austerity, just remember that there was a certain Lord Lebanov was appointed as well. So yeah, Russia has a great deal of influence, and it's high time that that MI6 and other national services step up and make sure that we push these attempts out of Russia. We need to get Russian influence out of the UK quicker and faster than before. So the UK is accusing Russia's security service, the FSB, of sustained cyber hacking campaigns targeting politicians and others in public life. The government said one group stole data through cyber attacks, which was later made public, including the material linked to the 2019 election. So there's a possibility that the 2019 general election was rigged in as well, potentially. I don't know about that. I think that's I don't know about that. It's possible, but I don't think so. Russia has repeatedly denied claims it is involved in such activities. Of course they would. The Foreign Secretary David Cameron said the group's actions were completely unacceptable. Saying David Cameron that's done work for the Chinese state. Just putting that in there. Despite the repeated efforts they have failed, we will continue to work together with our allies to expose Russian covert cyber activity and hold Russia to its accounts for its actions, the former PM had said. Foreign Office Minister Dicho Dotry told the House of Commons on Thursday that Russia's ambassador had been summoned and 2 individuals were being sanctioned, one of them a serving FSB officer. The Russian ambassador was unavailable after being summoned on Wednesday, but officials met with the Russian embassy deputy head of mission and expressed the UK's deep concern about the alleged cyber attacks. Yeah. We have to state alleged now, don't we? The group is accused of carrying out thousands of high-target hacks against politicians, civil servants, and those working in think tanks, journalists, academics, and others in public life. These mainly target private emails and individuals following extensive research and the creation of false accounts impersonating their trusted contacts. Among those targeted was an MP who told the BBC in February his emails had been stolen. The Federal Security Service is the successor agency to the KGB, which operates throughout the Cold War. Russian President Vladimir Putin was director of the FSB for a period in the 1990s. The group linked to the FSB, and specifically part of it known as the Centre 18, have been targeting the UK by stealing information from those in political and public life since at least 2015, it is believed. It is claimed that the group remains active. The US is also expecting to announce actions against the group. Russia is targeting the UK's democratic process, Western officials have said. However, the campaign has been judged not to have been successful in interfering in the democratic processes. Thursday's public accusation aimed at disrupting the works group and increasing awareness ahead of the major elections around the world next year. There's lots of elections coming up, of course. There's R1, there's obviously the one in America, and there'll be ones taking place around, and they will try to influence them that will benefit them, of course. This group is acquiring vast amounts of data, Western officials said. This information has been used to undermine the West in various ways. The UK has already accused Russia of interfering in the 2019 election after stealing documents of a US-UK trade from Conservative MP Liam Fox, which were then leaked. But when that accusation was made in 2020, the specific group behind the attack was not named and is now being linked to a wider activities by the same FSB-linked group. Those targeted by the organisation come from across the political spectrum. The SNP MP Stuart MacDonald told the BBC this February that a group believed to have been linked to Russian intelligence stole his emails after posing as one of his staff. He went public in order to preempt the leak of any emails they did not appear. Speaking in the House of Commons on Thursday, the SNP's Brendan O'Hara, the party's foreign affairs spokesperson, said Russian actions were part of a persistent pattern of behaviour, and asked if the government had considered making cybersecurity training mandatory for all MPs and their staff. Labour's David Lammy said democracy was built on trust and asked if the government was confident the full extent of the attack has been uncovered. The FSB-linked group itself has been thought to focus on hacking the data, with others involved in disassembling it through different channels and amplifying its impact. Other targets include the think tank, the Institute for Statecraft, and its founder, Chris Doherty, whose data was leaked online, as well as the former head of MI6, Sir Richard Dearlove. How does this... Western officials have said the group was involved in intelligence acquisition by hacking the emails and stealing the data. In some cases, it's then passed on information to others in order for it to be made public. The ascension by the UK, which was followed by a further group from the US, is designed to disrupt the activities of the FSB group by exposing them. It is believed to have taken some months for the US and UK to establish with high enough confidence that FSB Centre 18 was responsible and to coordinate public announcements about the activities. Previous advisory from the National Cybersecurity Centre, an arm of GCHQ in January, warned of the threat of emails being targeted by both Russia and Iran for further advisories, including to high-profile individuals, and being issued later on Thursday. All of who are known to have been hacked have been informed. Officials want to increase awareness of the dangers the UK heads towards an election likely next year. The US elections are due next November and could also be targeted by hackers. In 2016, a different part of Russia's intelligence was accused of stealing and making public emails belonging to Hillary Clinton's campaign, a move some consider a significance in the tight race. The hacking group is known by various names, including Star Blizzard, Coal River, and Sea Bologum. A large amount of data is thought to have been stolen by the FSB group in recent years, and only a fraction of it has been made public. After they could leak more data they have collected, Western officials have said there is no evidence of that intact. There is a possibility that they have collected a lot of information. This is extremely concerning. If it's not already concerning, guys, they are trying to get as much information is king. It really, really is, and it can really make the difference in certain things. Now, obviously, we don't know for certain that if what happened with the Clintons' emails, would that been that was the difference, whether it was going to make the difference or not between Trump and Hillary in the 2016 presidential campaign. We honestly don't know. We don't know that for certain. Okay, let's just put that out there on the plate. Okay. But what I do know is that Russia have been, without a doubt, had influence, and are trying to gain as much influence as they politically can. They definitely have a number on Boris Johnson. We know that they've been talking with ex-KGB agents, and we know that Boris has had contacts with potential Russian people. We know that. It's not an allegation. We know he's had those talks. Lebedov, who was made a lord. He's a former. His ties to Russia just speaks volumes. We know there's influence here from Russia, but it's not too big of an influence yet. But they are gaining ground in Russia, and more needs to be. Russia are gaining more ground in the UK, and more needs to be done to stomp it out. Now, obviously, we don't know everything that's going on, because obviously some of it is, there are probably more attacks happening than we know, and it's being kept confidential because obviously we don't want to scare the public. But it is happening, and more needs to be done. We've had cases, obviously, we had the case of what's happened with the nuclear power plant recently as well. We've had too many instances, and we need to invest more in our cyber security. More needs to be done to protect our infrastructure, because God forbid certain sensitive information gets into the wrong hands. That is for sure, guys. What do you guys think? What do you think of Russia's hacking? Do you think it's just us, America? How many other, what about the other nations? What about the European Union and those within? The influence is growing and wide. They're trying to get into as many pockets as they possibly can, and they need to, because they definitely don't have the influence like they don't. My opinion, they don't have the influence like they used to. But certainly, money is talking, and if they buy enough politicians, buy enough of them, they can manipulate things for their own well-being. And these hackings can lead to potential blackmail on certain people as well, which could give them influence. But honestly, let me know what you guys honestly think about these Russia hackings, not just in the UK, but elsewhere around the world. Interested to hear your thoughts. Hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media, and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, which I greatly appreciate, you can do so by buying me a coffee or joining me on Patreon. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.